Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And man, I'm excited about this one. We have Miss Lauren Sisler on with us, a great lady, doing some amazing things. And first, I just want to say thanks so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
Hey, Chip, great to be on. Of course, I'm always thrilled for the opportunity to just, spend some time with people, getting to know people around the country and around the world, and certainly sharing stories and trying to shed some positive light on people's life.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into it. I know off air, we talked about your journey and some of the really neat things that you've been blessed and fortunate to achieve. But if you don't mind kind of sharing some of that, your background with the audience so they have an idea of who you are and what it is you do.
Yes. So I guess you could say my official title, Lauren Sisler, sports reporter for ESPN, sideline reporter for college football, primarily, to have done some gymnastics as well. And then, inspirational speaker. And, I just, have a lot of different projects that I work on and things like that. But really, I guess, sports is kind of what has given me such a tremendous platform, and have been thrilled and excited for all the opportunities that ESPN has presented along the way, as well as, other sports entities. And it's pretty cool. It's been a fun journey, after graduating from college and really taking sort of this winding path to get to where I am today with sports and, sports journalism. And it hasn't been an easy road. It's been quite bumpy along the way, as we all know in life. That's most roads have a lot of potholes in it, but you kind of dip, duck, and dive, figure it out. And, here I am, thankful for this opportunity and really just to share stories. I think that's what I love so much about my job as a sports reporter, is the opportunity to share stories, the stories that I believe can truly have a positive impact on other people's lives.
That's awesome. And, truth be told, man, I have to tell you this secret about myself here, Lauren. So, man, I came across you, saw you dancing on the sideline.
Oh, no.
And I was like, man, I've got to get her on the Success Chronicles and let her share her story.
That's so funny, because I was going to ask you how you, landed, Obviously you'd email me several months ago, and we were kind of going back and forth, and I was going to ask you how you discovered me and wanted to have me on your podcast. So it's kind of funny that, we coined it this sideline shimmy, has become a thing for me. And it's just something that, believe it or not, people ask me, kind of where it derived from. And the one question I also get is like, do you still get nervous on the sidelines? So there you go. That's where the sideline shimmy actually kind of came from, because the answer to that is yes, absolutely. Yeah. When you, go out there and have to perform in front of millions of people, and, you're under a microscope and people are watching and hanging on to all your words and your delivery, it can be quite nerve-wracking. And so for me, it was really just a way to kind of push through some of that anxious energy. And so I love music. I used to DJ back in the day. And, when you're in that stadium and the big loudspeakers are on, you were a coach and you just get fired up on game day. And it's like, okay, how are we going to, utilize some of this energy? And I'm like, look, the players can't have all the fun out there. I got to get in on this fun too.
Oh, I love it. And like we talked about off air, I think it's always important to just have fun doing what you do. I love how you said where it came from, because that's really neat that you can have that outlet for that nervous energy to break down, and you break it down good too on that shit.
Yeah, it's subjective. Some people will be like, "Ooh, where are the dance moves at?" And they might not always be the best dance moves, but it's wherever my body tells me to go on any given song, right? And so I'm just a free spirit, little freestyle action, whatever I can, muster up on any given day. So it's fun though, and it really has been beneficial. And so I always encourage
Yeah.
people, find sort of your outlet, like you said, such a
Come
great
on.
outlet. Find your
Yeah.
outlet, because it is hard, even if you're going into a boardroom and speaking to 10 customers, or giving a presentation, or if you're a student and you got to give a presentation to a class. I mean, it's not easy. Public speaking and getting in front of people and presenting, it's not an easy, it's definitely an art. It takes a lot of reps. And so I just encourage people, to find that outlet and just find a way to kind of shake off the nerves. And nerves are good, right? And that's one thing I
Yes.
say as a former athlete, it's hard to replicate competition. The competition is just something that's so unique and special. And as a former gymnast, there's no such thing as going out in the backyard and having a pickup game of gymnastics, right? So, I don't get to exercise my former, athleticism and gymnastics like, other sports, I guess, other respective sports, basketball and, football, you can go play two-hand touch or flag football in the backyard. Some people still tackle, which I think is crazy, but especially when you get to our age. But nevertheless, I just think that having the ability to go out there and perform and compete, I look at it as almost like a competition, really with myself. I'm just continuing to get better and really just using it in a positive way when I step foot on that football field.
I love it. You talked about two things that really resonated with me. And I always say this too about reps. Reps make you better. It's
Yep.
about that perspective, how you look at it.
Rep,
It's an
rep, rep.
opportunity. Yeah, it's an opportunity to get better. And so as you get reps, you get better and you learn and so that leads into the get better piece. The perspective is always strive to do things to make you better. Everything is, I don't know, not winning and losing, but winning and learning.
Uh-huh. Yes, I love that, winning and
Yeah.
learning. That's so
Yeah.
good, right? I think that's such a positive perspective to put on it, because I do think, and a lot of coaches will tell you this, top tier coaches, elite coaches, your Nick Sabans of the world will tell you that, perseverance and success are synonymous, right? And there is a level of perseverance needed to find success. And I know this is a theme in your podcast, right? And without that perseverance, without those failures, without those challenges, it's near impossible to truly find success, and more importantly, have gratitude for that success.
Hey, Lauren, that was good. I got one word in response to that, and that word is boom.
Boom. I love
Let's
it.
go.
Mic drop, right?
Let's go. What are three things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
Yeah, such a great question. And, I would say there's a multitude of things that have, transpired. I talk about that bumpy road, and, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a little bit of my personal story. I think one of the biggest things, in life, obviously growing up, I was a gymnast my whole life. And really that was my goal. My goal was to earn a college scholarship. And that would probably be one of the first big goals that I had in life, right? Obviously grow up, be a good kid, make good grades, right? And ultimately that ties into going to college, getting an education, and being able to do it on a scholarship. So that was probably one of the biggest things that I really set my sights on. And it was a long, winding road there, a lengthy body of work, right? Not a sprint, definitely a marathon.
Yes.
A lot of injuries, a lot of overcoming, a lot of hardships throughout that, my gymnastics career. But being able to earn that college scholarship to me was so important, because truly I felt like it had such residual value. And that value did not just, it wasn't just the scholarship dollars, right? I think a lot of times you look like, okay, financially, like this is going to be X amount of dollars. It's going to get me through school, and you place a value on it. But there's so much more value than just the financials. And really, I inherited so many great things by going to Rutgers. That's where I went to school on scholarship. And, just having my teammates, my coaches, the community, the support, the athletic directors, the academic advisors, the mentors, people that were just there to really help me and help guide me through really some of the most difficult times in my life. And so it kind of takes me to the second point of accomplishment. And, I don't know if you could call this an accomplishment, but I think really being on this side of it, to be able to share it, I truly value what it holds. And so, I was a freshman at Rutgers and tragically lost both of my parents unexpectedly within about 5 hours of each other to prescription drug overdoses. And, Chip, it was something that we as a family didn't see coming. We had no idea. We knew my parents were dealing with chronic pain, going to a pain management doctor. But pain management, right? You think management. They're managing it. They're doing what they have to get out of bed in the morning. And so you don't recognize, and I didn't recognize as a teenager, in high school going into college, that it had become an issue for them and that they were actually literally relying on that prescription drug to get them out of bed in the morning. And so looking at that, as painful as it was, and I spent so many years running from reality, running from the truth of what happened to them, because the word prescription overdose, or just overdose and addiction in general, like I could not tie those two words to my parents, because we as a society, as you know, have stigmatized, labeled many things, right? This is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. And, unfortunately, we as humans are all flawed, and we all are going to experience challenges. We're all going to find ways to cope. And sometimes those coping skills lead us down a dark path. And so for my parents, unfortunately, the addiction got a hold of them, and, it took their lives. My mom was 45 and my dad was 52. We're coming up on the 20-year anniversary, March 24th, which I can't believe, that we're coming up on that. And, I would say that kind of leads me to that second piece of my life, because I kind of go in chronological order here. The scholarship was obviously big, not only for me but also my parents. And then really just where I've come in the aftermath of tragedy, I look at that as like, of course it wasn't easy. And of course it has been a long journey. And I would not be telling the truth if I told you that there aren't still hard days, and that I still don't struggle, and that I still don't find, that pain and that internal yearning for like my parents to be here, and, to have the milestones that I feel like we've all missed together. Right. But to be able to be on this side of it and to be okay with sharing their story and having the courage, I guess, and strength to share their story and my story, and to be able to use it in a positive way, because I bottled it up for so many years. And to be on this side of it, I think it's something I'm very proud of and thankful for, and have a lot of gratitude for. So I guess that would be the second thing. And I know I'm answering this in a very long way, but I think also then the third thing would just be, obviously entering into this career as a sports broadcaster, finding my way and all that. And then I think really discovering a purpose within that. And that's something I think I would encourage people listening is finding your purpose. And, I think sometimes people do tie their careers and, certain things in their life to their purpose. I think there's so much more out there. And I think that sometimes we try to define, certain life things happen, and that's how we define our lives by. And for many years, I think my life was defined by shame and stuffing that shame internally inside of me for so many years. And then I realized, wait a sec, like I can do something positive with this. And really it was launching myself into the sports career, seeing the positive impact. And, as a coach, when you can use a story, you probably have young men and or women that you've coached that have an incredible story, because everyone has a story, and, of overcoming, maybe they went through a terrible situation at home. Maybe they ended up having to be adopted into another family. Maybe they had a broken home. Maybe they saw their parents go through addiction. Maybe they saw mom or dad be incarcerated. I mean, it is across the board that everyone is going through something. Divorce, infidelities, bankruptcy, there's all sorts of addictions that come in different size and shape. It's not just substance, gambling, eating disorders. There's so many different things that we are faced with and challenges. And I think coming out on the other side of it and being able to use other people's stories and say, hey, like, this can impact someone's life and really change maybe the trajectory of their lives based on seeing what other people can do. And it's really that piece of hope. We give people hope when we can show them the other side.
Man, that's so good. Just hearing you talk about The college scholarship piece, um, man, it made me reflect, on being an athlete and growing through that too. And just thinking, like, going in and it's an amazing opportunity, right? Like, going in, man, this is pretty cool. I've worked all my life to do this. But like you said, what you don't know is the benefits that you're going to receive from that. I think your ROI determines your ROI. Hey, this is good, Lauren. Hold on. Your ROI determines your ROI, and that's your return on your investment determines your radar of influence,
I
and
love
vice
that.
versa.
That's
Your
good.
radar of
Yeah.
influence determines your return on your investment. And so, that's a prime example of, you putting everything into what you've done, which that's giving you a bigger radar of influence to allow you to grow and learn from people. You talked about the death of your parents. I was just thinking, within the last, 10 years, 12 years, I've lost my four of my top five, parents, granddad.
Oh, I'm
And so
sorry.
I was
Yeah.
just thinking, like, man, just imagine being that age, having to work through that, man. I know that that's tough, but then, like you said, it does something to you too. Like, it's one thing, we all go to funerals, right? And it's one thing to sit in normal places in the funeral, but it's another thing to be sitting on the first row
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
funeral,
Yeah.
right? And that
Yeah.
that does something to you, right? I mean, it
Yep.
it it does a lot. I think for one, it shows you the importance of you holding up your end of the deal to be what they were to us. If that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yep.
Now the family, the people, now they're looking at me like, I don't know, bro. Like, I better figure it out. you know,
Uh-huh.
now
Yep.
now I have to take the place of that. And so I thank you so much for sharing that, because I know that that's really tough. And then when you talked about your career and finding your purpose, it's super important for us to understand our why, like you said, and
Yep.
that why drives us every day. And your why always, when you know your why, the what, the when, none of that other stuff matters, because you know what your why is.
That's absolutely right. And I think that's so important to understand that, to find your why, what gets you out of bed in the morning. And I think a lot of times people do, again, tie their self-worth and value to maybe
Mm-hmm.
their careers, and to what they do for a living. But it's
Yeah.
so much broader and greater than that. And I think that it's important to remember that. And so whether you are the CEO of a company or you
Come on.
are,
Come on.
out here building homes or
Yeah.
laying asphalt or
Come on.
part of the waste management team. I
Yeah.
mean, how important and significant that job is. And if we don't have all the things that are in place in our communities and in our lives, and people that are willing to go out there and do that every day, then we don't have a system that works. We're not in sync as
Yeah.
humanity, right? And to have people that go out there, I mean, it's all so important. And I think that a lot of times, people are chasing after those lustrous jobs, the money, the private jets, the, you know, I'm going to make this and I'm going to do this. But really, that happiness, I truly believe, can be found in your purpose, right? And that joy that you find comes in that purpose that you develop and grow into as, a human being, obviously, and as, just a working member of society, and just being, in your community, being surrounded by the right people and developing important relationships that I believe, we foster those relationships, we water the seeds and watch them grow.
So good. So before we go on, I want to share this quote with you, because I think you like this one, about relationships. You mentioned relationships. I heard this from one of my former pastors, and he said, "Life moves at the speed of our relationships."
Yes, that's good. That's good.
Oh my
Really good.
gosh. When I heard that, it gave me chills, because it's so true. Those of us that are doing great things, we have some really great relationships in our
Yep.
lives. And those of us that's not doing so well, we probably need to get better relationships in our
Yes.
life to become
Yes.
better. But you mentioned relationships. I want to share that one with you,
That is
because
so
that's
good. I
one,
love that.
yeah.
Definitely going to
Yeah.
write that one down. That's really good.
Yeah. Well, just hearing you talk about your journey, hearing you discuss the things that you're proud of, um, Lauren, I would consider that to be hugely successful. So let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
When you sent me the questions, I was pondering that because
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes, you see a word, you sort of know what it means in the context of like your life, and you have examples of what maybe success is, and I think success certainly is different for everybody. And again, I think that's where once we as a society put labels on things, especially with social media and these comparisons, and that to me is success. That to me is success. Driving this car, owning this house, having this job title. Everyone looks at success differently. And I think that society puts sort of a label on what that threshold is of success, right? And I think for many years, I was kind of tied up in that, looking for the next thing. Okay, next thing, next thing, next thing. So then you become, in many ways, sort of just constantly chasing success in which you never reach it, because you're always chasing it. And I think that, yes, you never want to become complacent, but I do think that you have to live in the moment. And coaches always say, and I'm sure you've heard this saying before, Chip, is be where your feet are, right? Be where your feet are. And I think sometimes you just got to plant your feet and say, okay, this is where I'm at right now. This is the season of life I'm in right now. And I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to enjoy it, because look, we know it can be here and gone. You talk about being in the front row of that funeral home. It can be here and gone in a minute. And you have those relationships and those people. And then suddenly, like you said, those people are gone, and now you're at their funerals. And so I do think it's important to realize that success comes in so many different ways, and my success is not your success or what you value success at, because I think it's so hard to actually put value on success. And, to me, I look at success as someone that, finds happiness and joy in whatever facet of life, wherever they're at in their lives, whether they're coaching, for instance, as a coach. Some coaches would look at success as, I've got to get to the college level. I've got to get to the professional level. I've got to get to this level of coaching in order to consider that success. But for others, it could be, okay, success for me is being a coach of this Pop Warner League and seeing these young men 10 years from now, 15 years from now, going out and getting college scholarships and getting married and having families. And, I think that is also the beauty of success, right? Because you are that mentor, you are that guide, you're that guidance, you're that coach, you're the person that kind of brings them up into that next phase of their life, right? And so again, I think success comes in so many different ways. And I would say for me, success is truly being grateful for being where you are, grateful for the things that have come before you, grateful for the failures, grateful for the challenges, grateful for the milestones and the celebrations, the victories, the everything in between, to me, is success. And when you can find that true gratitude for the good and the bad and everything in between, and find it as a lesson, right? We talked about that, a lesson. You find lessons in that. So it's about winning and learning. And I love that you said that, winning and learning. I think that's so important. And when you can get to that place where you're like, okay, this is not all doom and gloom. Yes, this is painful right now, but I'm going to move through this, and I'm going to come out on the other side. I'm going to learn something from it. And I think that's where you can truly find success and really build your life on that foundation. And of course, as a woman of faith, I think success is very much derived in my faith and, having faith in the good Lord above, but also, in relationships. And as you mentioned, those relationships can be so important, and finding success in those relationships and in those other facets of life outside of what most people would deem success is a career or a job.
Man, there's definitely a blessing in every lesson.
Blessing in every lesson. Yes.
Yeah. Well, as we close, I'd love for you to get an opportunity to share with the audience where they can go follow you and check you out and show you some love with all of the amazing things you have going on.
Well, I so appreciate that. So if you want to get a little taste of the sideline shimmy, you can obviously go find all the fun shimmies on Instagram. But you can pretty much find me on every social media channel at Lauren Sisler. And that's Sisler is my last name, Lauren Sisler. And, obviously on all the channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the things. And then also wanted to give a little heads up that I'm working on a book right now. So that's something that I'm hoping, as you said, you are an author of many books. I'm going to be embarking on my journey as a, first time author, and looking forward to sharing a memoir here in the coming months as that continues to unfold. And so I look forward to sharing that journey with people that are interested. So of course I'll be posting updates and stuff about that as to when we think that'll happen. Because as you know, it's a process and I want to do it the right way. So, just taking our time, being diligent about it, and anxious for when that opportunity comes.
Well, there it is. Again, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. Truly appreciate it. And I wish you continued success. Thank
you so much, Chip. I love it. And I love that. The Success Chronicles, I think that's so great. And keep sharing those awesome stories of the amazing people out there. It's inspiring. And I know it definitely inspires people and definitely provides hope for people that might be walking through tough times in their lives. So, Chip, thank you so much as well. I appreciate it.
Yes, yes. And thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.